Hello everyone, and welcome to this year's YouTube video based on my current upload schedule. Today I'm going to be talking about a Granbull deck I've been playing for the past month or so in local leagues and league cups. Been pretty well with it, won a bunch of leagues, came second place in league cup, top 8'd. It's a good deck, it's a lot of fun. Basically, you play Granbull, you empty your hand, and you do a lot of damage. That's how the deck kind of works, right? And most people know that, and I'll be going through it really quick with you guys. So the Pokemon you run 4 Snubbull and 4 Granbull. The Granbull must be the ones from Lost Thunder, the one with 130 HP, attack that does 30 damage for 1 energy, and if your hand is empty, it does 130 more damage. It's kind of the basis of the deck. You do 160 damage for 1 energy if you meet the condition of your hand being empty. It sounds kind of difficult, but it's really quite easy if you build your deck around it. The Snubbulls that you run 4 of aren't super important, but I recommend the ones from the Sun and Moon base set, just because of the fact they have 1 retreat cost, they do 20 damage for 1 energy. It's pretty good. Some of the other ones have 2 retreat costs, some have an energy attack that does 20, maybe 40 if you discard trainers, and some have a 20 for like a DCE or something stupid. I think the Sun and Moon one is the best one by far. It's consistent damage, no prerequisite, you just do 20 damage and you have a chance of doing 10 damage to yourself with the flip of a coin, which who gives a shit. Run 2 Orangaroos from the Sun and Moon base set, one with the Instruct ability that lets you draw up to 3 cards once per turn. You run 2 Slugmas and 2 Magcargos. Magcargo from Celestial Storm, one with the Smooth Over ability that lets you once per turn put a card from your deck on top of your deck, any card you want. The Slugmas aren't super important, but I recommend the 80 HP ones as opposed to the 70 HP ones with the Magma Ring attack. Sure, you have an attack you can use, but there's too many switch cards in the format that stopping someone's retreat isn't very important. Bunch of switches, bunch of escape rows, bunch of Guzmas is really... Magma Ring does basically nothing. 80 HP is a lot more worth the 10 damage of that attack. And of course a Ditto Prism. Just for consistency and evolving into either a Granbull or a Magcargo. The supporter lineup I run 4 Reds Challenges, 4 Apricorn Makers, 3 Guzma, 2D, and 2 Dianthas. Reds Challenge is a new card that came out with Unbroken Bonds. It kind of enables this deck right now in the current format. Its text is you discard 2 cards from your hand and you can search your deck for any card. So it's a computer search in the form of a supporter. It's obviously very strong in this deck because it enables you to search your deck for literally anything and empty your hand if you used Instruct. So say you have this in your hand, you Instruct, you draw 2 cards, you play the Reds, you discard those 2 cards, and then you search for any card in your deck that you can play immediately. Right? It's super flexible, super good. It really does just enable the deck. Apricorn Makers, you'll see when I go over the items, is for searching out the ball cards. You know, it just lets you search out 2 ball cards from your deck and put them into your hand. It's a 4 of supporter. It searches out Ultra Balls, searches out Great Balls, searches out Nest Balls. It just basically lets you get set up, and also in the late game it's a supporter you can just play and say get an Ultra Ball off of, or a Nest Ball, or whatever you really want. Super good card. You definitely run these over like Lilies or Elms or Cynthias or anything like that. You really don't need a shuffle draw supporter, you just kind of need direct tutorage, which is what this deck needs, just pure consistency. I got 3 Guzmas. The reason I have 3 is because early game you don't really ever play a Guzma. Guzma's kind of a card you have to set up turns prior to use, and if you don't, it just kind of ends up being discard fodder, or unless you get really lucky and are able to actually pull it off. I'd probably cut a Guzma for a 3rd Diantha though, just to run the just because Diantha is such an insanely powerful card in this deck. Whereas whenever one of your fairy Pokemon get knocked out, you can search your discard pile for 2 cards and put them into your hand. So say your Granbull gets knocked out and you have a Snubbull on the bench, you can just put a Granbull card and a fairy energy back into your hand from your discard, and then you reset and smooth over, put another one on top of your deck. It just kind of infinitely chain. It's really good. It's obviously it's really good. So yeah, I'd probably run 3, but you know, 3 Guzma, 2 Diantha is okay too. It all depends on current meta and your area and what you're really trying to play around. Shrine of Punishment is one of the stadiums I run, along with a Wondrous Labyrinth and a Power Plant. I would definitely cut the Power Plant for another Shrine. I put the Shrine or the Power Plant in there to kind of help me against Zoroark and Dead Enemies and stuff like that. But I've realized that, hey, I kind of lose to Zoroark anyways because they just get a Muck Out. And if your opponent gets a Muck Out and you're not able to kill it almost immediately, you're probably going to lose just because of how strong it is. And this shutting down the Oranguru you kind of depend on. But yeah, I definitely cut Power Plant, put 2 Shrines in, and Wondrous Labyrinth. It's just an insanely good card in this deck. It doesn't hinder you in any way and makes your opponent's attacks cost more, so I have to commit more to taking 1 prize card, which on its own is just insane. For items, I run 4 Ultra Balls, pretty standard, 4 Nest Balls, also standard, and 3 Great Balls. Great Balls aren't so standard in most decks, but in Granbull I think they're the go-to ball, as opposed to like Timer Balls or something like that. Even Lure Balls, who knows what other people decide to play. Great Balls just kind of let you get whatever you need, because you have so many Pokemon in your deck. So say you Apricorn Maker, you can take a Great Ball and a Nest Ball, you rip the Great Ball. Say you take something, then you can, it helps you decide what you take off the Nest Ball a lot easier. It's also just a card you can play. Having cards you can just play for no effect is really good for emptying out your hand if you're in a tight spot. For other items I run 3 Choice Bands, because you're trying to take down those big GX decks in those tag teams. You want to get as much damage on them as you possibly can, maybe let a Shrine tick away. 2 Rescue Stretchers, just because you're going to find yourself losing. It's a lot of Pokemon. It is a 1 prize deck after all. Pokemon don't have the most HP in the game. So Rescue Stretchers are definitely a resource you need to conserve. 2 Pokegear 3.0s, just to help you get out supporters for just a little bit of added consistency. 2 Switches, a Field Blower, and a Palpad. Switches are absolutely crucial in the deck. You definitely need 2 of them. One of them isn't enough. So many times I found myself needing a Switch, and I had it because I ran 2. Field Blower is just good to get against like Zapdos decks and decks that run Jirachi. It's really good for shutting them down. All you really want to do is shut down Jirachis, so if you're able to Field Blower 2 escape boards off them, or just get rid of their only escape boards, say, it's really good. And then Palpad is just to get back Dianthas and Reds and Guzmas or whatever you need and whatever you discarded earlier. And for energy, I got 7 Fairy Energy cards. I think 7 is the magic number. I don't run Viridian in this list, as you've probably noticed, just because of the fact I don't think it's that good. Searches your deck for an energy, sure, and it discards a card, but if you play the deck properly, you won't ever find yourself needing to. If you need an energy, you can just Reds for it, which is, again, it's what Reds is for, consistency, and Viridian just kind of gets in the way. I found myself multiple times playing against opponents where they had a Viridian in play and they never ever used it, just because the deck's not designed to use the Viridian, as tempting as it is. Yeah, that's the deck. I've had quite a bit of success, as I've said before. You can only really play this deck prior to the rotation that is happening soon before Worlds, just because you lose so many cards, being Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, Oranguru mainly, and Rescue Stretcher and Choice Bands. You could survive without the Choice Bands, I guess, but Oranguru is very crucial in this deck. Being able to draw cards and having a basic that just lets you draw cards is really good. Unless they print something soon that's just a basic that sits there and maybe once per turn you can flip and draw a card or something like that. I don't see this deck being playable post-rotation, just for that fact alone, and the fact that you're losing 4 or 8 Ultra Ball. Actually, no, you're losing all the balls. Great Ball, Nest Ball, and Ultra Ball. So yeah, this deck's going to be really hard to play post-rotation. Probably impossible if you ask me, but who knows, maybe someone can make it work. That's the deck. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll upload another video in the next week or so. Who knows? Bye.